The new Arrow Lake CPUs from Intel actually looks pretty interesting, and I'm not saying that I'm never going to test the 9950X in music production, but right now there are so many strange things happening in the CPU space. I might skip it, or at least wait for a while until I test the AMD CPU. We also have some leaked benchmarks of the Arrow Lake's upcoming CPUs from Intel, and they look a little bit promising, so let's take a look at those later in the video. Now, people have tested the 9950X in productivity apps, something that is perhaps more close to the type of performance you need when we talk about music production. And it seems like the 9950X is performing better in those types of productivity tasks compared to, for example, gaming. So it might not be as bad as it looks if we are focusing on those types of workloads. AMD is also apparently reducing the price on their 9 series CPU, and they're also apparently investigating some of these performance issues, as far as I understand. For music production, we are also interested in how the DPC latency behaves. Just because the CPU gives good results in Cinebench or other benchmarks, it doesn't automatically mean it has to be a good music production CPU. Most cases it is, but not all. So the 9950X from AMD is, if you didn't know, it's a two chiplet design, which means it's actually two physical CPUs on the package, if you will. And there's a communication connection between these two cores inside there, and the reputable AnandTech has found that the latency, meaning the speed in which these two cores are talking together, is slower on the 9950X compared to the older 7950X I have above my head here somewhere. So the 7950X is around 76 nanoseconds and the 9950X is around 180 nanoseconds. So significantly higher than the 7950X. Pretty strange. And this is something that could perhaps affect the multi-core workloads as well. There is a suspicion that this is actually an error and it's due to some kind of aggressive core parking in Windows or something like that. If that's the case, perhaps the problem can be fixed. But again, as I said in the start of this video, strange things are happening in the CPU space and we just have to wait and see what happens as time goes. That's why I'm not buying the 9950X yet. I want to kind of wait and see, and perhaps maybe it's worth going to Intel, because we got some leaked information about the upcoming Arrow Lake CPUs, and it appears that the Intel Core Ultra 9 285K, the numbering here, is beating the i9 14900KS and 9950X in these leaked benchmark tests. So in Geekbench it gave 3,450 points in single core and 23,024 points in multi-core tests. So this means that it's 8% faster than the i9 14900KS and 4% faster than the 9950X in single core tests. And in multi-core it scores 5.1% over the i9 14900KS. These numbers, man. And a 14% lead over the Ryzen 9 9915X. So this is tests using Geekbench, probably not the best software to test CPUs, but it's the only numbers we have at the moment, and then of course it's leaked numbers, so we can't vet them. Interesting, maybe promising. I wouldn't say promising, but interesting. So these new Intel CPUs are expected to be released in October this year, and I mean, if these early benchmarks are correct, it might be perhaps something to consider if I'm not missing anything here, which I occasionally sometimes do. So that's why I kind of want to wait a little bit and see what happens until I go out and buy a new CPU. So I think that's a more realistic scenario for this channel, is that I test, for example, the new Arrow Lake Intel CPU that comes in October against perhaps the 7950X above me here. This will also show us how it performs in terms of performance and efficiency cores. The Ryzen CPUs, as you probably know, doesn't have a efficiency core and performance cores. It just have cores. But Macs and Intel CPUs have different core types, and it's also giving music production software developers a little bit of a headache in terms of how they handle these types of workload, and other developers as well, I guess. But Ableton said this about this in November 2023, that yeah, it creates a challenge on how those best distribute work to various CPU cores. So it's something they are definitely working on by their engine team. So they are working on it, apparently. Maybe Intel's upcoming CPUs is worth considering for music production and content creation and other things. Or does the 9950X actually have a problem that is being worked on and is going to be solved by a microcode update, BIOS update, or something like that? I mean, it's not easy to know. Take care, and I will see you in another one. Goodbye.